Some key points of emphasis we talk about in the backstroke start that we like to teach here at Arizona. Denton, go ahead and take your mark. One thing we like to teach, there's a new rule that says you can have your feet placed as high as you want to. They can even be above the surface of the water. The only rule is you cannot have your toes curled over the edge. So we like to teach our backstrokers to have a nice high foot plant. We like to tell them to have their feet roughly shoulder width apart, because that'll provide the optimal jump for them. In terms of angles with our legs, we teach our guys to have their butt pretty far away from their heels. Along with that, we like to teach a pretty straight back. So Denton, go ahead and take your mark and let's check out Denton's angles here. So he's got roughly a 90-degree angle with his hamstrings and his calves. His back is pretty straight, as you can see. And you can see his rear end is right on the surface of the water, and you can see how far. There's probably a good 3 feet between his heels and his rear end there. So he's got his butt on the surface of the water there, and it's in a nice high position, and his back's nice and straight. And as far as where his head's looking, we like to teach him to kind of look back between the block as opposed to looking down. So we like to get everything in a nice ready position for a good jump. So to kind of review those angles there, you got your butt away from your heels, a good 2 to 3 feet, and then a nice straight back, which will help with good reaction time, and then your head looking kind of straight forward at the wall or between the block. So go ahead and take your mark, Denton. Okay, go. Okay, you can see that was a good example. When your butt is nice and far away from your feet like that, and it's nice and on top of the water, it gives you, we like to teach, keep your hips up, not fall back so your hips drop and then push. So everything kind of releases together. And so the key is, the most important thing I think in a backstroke start is keeping those hips up, not letting them drop so you're pushing through water. We want you to go a nice angle out over the water so you're going through the air, and then you have a slight angle into the water with a slight little kick up to sneak your knees and your calves and your ankles through that same small hole that your streamline created. Okay, now we have another example. This is Dave Rollins, and Dave kind of executes his a lot like Denton's, with the exception of his arms kind of do a different thing. Go ahead and take your mark. Okay, you can see his angles are real similar to Denton's. His butt is about 3 feet away from his heels there. He's got about a 90-degree angle on his knees. His back is pretty straight, and his head's looking about the same place as Denton. Go ahead and relax for a second. Now, one area where Dave differs from Denton is when he releases the block with his hands, he takes a pretty direct line from that backstroke handlebar to his streamline. So Dave is more like this as he goes back, kind of a shoulder shrug, and then his hands kind of take a straight line back into a streamline. Where Denton, if you noticed, was more of a straight arm over the top, kind of painting a circle, if you will, back into a streamline. Both are good starts, as long as you get the right angle going into the water. So let's watch Dave do a start here. Okay, take your mark. Yep. You can see Dave's hands go directly from the backstroke bar to a streamline, where Denton kind of paints more of a circle. But the key here, the most important key, is that not letting your hips drop, not letting your center of gravity drop before you push off from the wall. Okay, so from your take your mark position, your hips do not drop 1 inch before releasing from the wall, before jumping from the wall. So real important that you keep that center of gravity nice and high, you keep those hips, you keep your butt high.